Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Bloodborne. But we have a special episode today. We have what I would probably just call our boss Bonanza. In this episode, I am going to kill, I believe, 3 bosses. 2 in a relatively timely fashion, as I can showcase here, and I'll go ahead and discuss a bit of technique, a bit of what was going on throughout my mind about how I should handle the situation. So, since we're heading back to the Upper Cathedral Ward, we obviously are going to be we're going to be facing Celestial Emissary and Abriatus, Daughter of the Cosmos. So, with Celestial Emissary, the technique that I usually involve in doing is hyper mode, obviously. But my goal is to destroy the boss before it actually can transform, which you actually can do. It will still transform, but it will just immediately die. And it's quite satisfying, and I do it here perfectly. But it's actually a bit trickier to do when you do not have a, I would say, a good, amount of stamina. Especially, like, if you have a thrust-oriented weapon, and the thrusts are usually, not oriented, but, like, a thrust-capable weapon. But thrusts are, R2s, and they drain a good amount of stamina. But, you know, like, we were still able to do it here. So this is what I did. What I usually do for these enemies is, since they're resistant to, you know, slash attacks, it's better because you can get more hits in, and so I crowd them up. You know, I crowd them up, try and get as many as I can together all at once. So this is why I'm walking around, trying to get them all crowded, and then just hit as many as I can, R2s, sweep, and if you can hit the bodies, do so, because as you saw there, even though most of them were dead, I was still getting stuff. Now, I already hit him a bit, and I got hit there, but if I didn't get hit by that stupid one over there, I would have instantly killed him before he even popped up, like. So I got smacked there, so it threw me off a little bit, but as you saw there, he got wrecked. It also helps that, you know, again, I do have a plus 10 weapon with the best blood gems that you can get in this game. Base game, excuse me. So that also helps. And now we're going to go ahead and deal with Abriatus. Now, it's a very interesting thing. I've always wondered if you could have enough time to get a full beast bar here and try and translate that to Abriatus, but I just don't feel like you have enough time. You know, maybe if you built the beast bar on these things, maybe, but, you know, like, I don't know. Like, I would probably just think that that's just not really possible. Even if you don't have, like, really good fist damage on, like, the, like, say, fist babies, for example. Not the fist babies, but, like, these guys. You know, you do enough damage to the extent that it's probably gonna get them after a while. Now, this is what I wanted to showcase when I said that these enemies are very interesting. These, little baby enemies. Altar of Despair. This is the, I guess, resting place, you would call it, for Abriatus. This is just where she usually hangs. Although I'm not necessarily sure completely. I'm sure that there's a bit more to this and whatnot. You know. Let me see, considering it's eldritch and whatnot, and dimensions and planes and yada yada yada. Lovecraft, blah blah. So this is Rom, or at least a stone version of Rom, and this is called the Altar of Despair, so I speculate that perhaps Rom, because she was once human, you know, was the surrogate child of Abriatus, maybe? And that's why, you know, like, she's leaning over it like that. I'm guessing, I don't know. Maybe that formed after we killed Rom, we'll never know. But this is why I said that that's interesting, because if you look at Abriatus' body, and then you come over to these things, they're really similar, but you can't really say that they're the children of Abriatus, considering that the lore of Bloodborne states very clearly that every great one loses its child and then yearns for a surrogate. So, it's really weird. Maybe they are the same species, subspecies of Great One as Abriatus, and they're this younger form, because as we see in the case of the amygdalas on the buildings, there are multiple versions of, you know, amygdala and whatnot, so maybe they're the younger versions and whatnot, and so they can be born through women? I don't know. I like to throw a rock because going next to her when she stands up to initiate the boss will put you in a very tricky position. So Abriatus, a boss that a lot of people feel like is a little bit tricky. The key to that is to be positioned correctly to where once her mouth closes, you can dodge. Because if you are not positioned correctly, then you just won't be able to dodge. Now, I hate this boss room. I hate this boss room. Look at this. There are just rocks everywhere. So many things that you can get caught up on. I hate it with a passion. Now, I took this Beast Blood pellet because I do want to try and take advantage of Beasthood and whatnot, but unfortunately I wasn't really getting amazing AI. It wasn't bad though, definitely. Now, I wanted to at least get a fully charged R2 off, but I didn't have the time. Now over here, I just said, let me go ahead and do this. And thrust attack, shoot, and then just finish her off. Because once she gets that aura, it's not as much. And so I just said she can hold that L, you know. I honestly feel bad for Britis, and this is actually one thing that I was mentioning previously in the previous episode about missed opportunities. I feel like a Britis should be a great one that you can speak to. You know, like, I don't really see why you can't speak to her. It would be cool, like, because it's assumed that the choir got its blood, the healing church as a whole, you know. The choir is probably like the upper echelons, like some of the founding members, etc., etc. It's assumed that the healing church got the blood from a Britis. So you'd think that you'd be able to, you know, communicate with her, or make contact, and then, you know, maybe you could get some dialogue. And that's one of my biggest problems with, like, some of the stuff with Bloodborne, because it's like, you know, there is literally no real reward for, like, making contact aside from one area, as well as there's no real reward for having a lot of insight. It's literally just useless. It gives you no frenzy resistance, and that's not good for certain bosses and certain enemies, and so why would you want 99 insight? And it gives you, like, less beasthood, so it's just retarded. You know, I really feel like if you had a certain amount of insight, and it goes, like, maybe even all the way up to 99, or all the way up to 60 or something, you know, you can speak to random great ones and whatnot.
What?
You know, like,
Very well,
I don't know. But as you saw there, that was 2 bosses in a relatively quick amount of time. You know, I know that you didn't really get to see too much of it, but I just wanted to showcase again that, you know, knowing what to do, knowing how to play, will instantly go ahead and destroy, you know, bosses in a relatively timely fashion. Now we're going to go ahead and head to the DLC, because now the only thing that we have left in the base game is Mirko's Wet Nurse, and I don't really want to do that before I do the DLC, because I'm going to try and see if I can get that dialogue where the doll says that Gurman is sleeping more peacefully after you destroy, you know, Orphan of Kos. So I'm going to try and do that this time. And so the first boss on the DLC is Ludwig, and we have access to the Nightmare Church, so we already are going to head there, because again, you know, we went and decided to get our chunks very early so that we have our weapons at a higher power early game. But now our weapon is fully maxed out, and so we're really sitting pretty for the DLC. And I honestly also believe, like, I am at, you know, a relatively solid level for the DLC. Like, I thought I killed her, that's why I didn't, you know, follow it, but she was still alive. I feel like I'm a relatively solid level for the DLC, so I just want to showcase that, you know, you don't necessarily need to be super over level to handle this DLC. I have, in fact, you know, beaten this game base level, so, you know, level isn't really the most important thing, it's just execution and technique. So I just wanted to showcase this, especially with this boss. This boss is very, I feel, technique oriented and whatnot with the stuff that they allow you to do here.
Please help us. An unsightly beast, a great terror loose. Ludwig the Accursed is coming. Have mercy. Have mercy upon us.
Ludwig is definitely, I think, my favorite DLC boss. overall. But yeah, this is a very technique-oriented boss, and as you can see here, he's a beast, so Credit King's whip mode is definitely the way to go, and it allows you to do stuff like this and just combo from a very safe distance so that he can't immediately retaliate. Look out for the launches and whatnot. Unfortunately, our buddy here does not make it throughout this fight, I believe. 1, 2, you roll, then you can go ahead and backstep, well not backstep, but turn around and smack him. You want to be very careful. I heard an audio glitch. I hope that that doesn't translate into the game, but not. It's whatever. Now, I didn't realize that he was doing that, and I still smacked him in the face, so that was pretty lucky. Now, I was really, really dumb here because I tried to fight him, and I almost paid the price for it because, as you saw there, he was so close against the wall that I couldn't properly get around his actual head. Not that one, like, shooting the, like a projectile right there. The, actual face. That's where you want to be, so that you can avoid that. Roll, turn around, smack him in the face. Really good cutscene. I won't say a word.
You were at my side all along. My true mentor. My guiding moonlight.
Ah, the glory of Bloodborne. The sound design, the soundtrack, the atmosphere, everything about this game is fantastic. Dodged way too, yeah, so our man's dies right over there, as you can see. Now, yeah, like, you know, positioning is really important in this boss. Certain attacks will just give you a bit of trouble. Now, I'd recommend, you know, swapping to a more speed-oriented version of your weapon, whichever that version may be, for this fight, considering that, you know, you want to just get maybe 2 hits here, whereas you could get a lot of hits during his beast phase. Also, I feel like this version of the Moonlight Sword is the greatest Moonlight Sword in Souls. It's just very well made, and, you know, like, it's really nice. It isn't just something exclusive to only a few people. It's more so like if you got, you know, like a quality set with just a bit of you know, arcane in this case, then boom, there you go. You can still enjoy it. It's really nice. Boom, boom, dodge, and I like to do a nice little like walk around here, just so that I can you know, get the timing down. That's what that little like walk in a circle is. And so I just buff. I didn't really need it, but yeah, you can just run around, get out of that range, and just run right to the side, and bada bing, bada boom, just decimate his health. And if you have like a really good weapon, you can just shoot him for extra damage in the meantime. I'm just like, let me go ahead and finish him off because it's over for him. I don't give L's to Ludwig because I actually feel bad for him. You know, it's not his fault. He was just being a hunter. Really good boss, really good music. I love this soundtrack. I love this game. I love Bloodborne. Favorite Souls game. Favorite Souls game. And so, I lay him to rest always. Because you see, the Healing Church sucks. But I usually like repping the Healing Church because I actually like the shawl. So, I don't have to be respect.
Good hunter of the church, have you seen the light? Are my church hunters the honorable Spartans? I hoped they would be. Ah, good. That is a relief. To know I did not suffer such denigration for nothing. Thank you kindly. Now I may sleep in peace. Even in this darkest of nights, I see the moonlight.
And so we just let him sleep in peace. And we get a Holy Moonlight Sword, which you can sell if you can't use for a really nice penny. Really nice penny. But I let him sleep in peace. I know like a lot of people like to troll him because of like the horse laugh, and he is based off the horse in Berserk and whatnot, so he's a meme. But I personally just let the guy sleep. It's like Lawrence that's the douchebag, in all honesty. He wanted to help people, but the way that he went about it was not exactly... I mean, Lawrence and Wilhelm, as I like to say him, like, you know, like, they're both douchebags equally. Wilhelm experimented on people. Lawrence likely did the same with the blood and whatnot.
Welcome.
And set up a freaking
Very
hierarchy and whatnot, like, you know, like, say the Roman Catholic Church did in the Dark Ages and whatnot, so that's not really, you know, any different and whatnot, so they're both douchebags, so... Just the means at which they were being douchebags is the difference. That's all.
Welcome. What is it? Very well. Let me...
And so me, I'm just getting these levels just because I
Farewell,
say, you know,
good
I want
hunter.
these levels, and
May you find you.
I'm gonna stop probably around this point, mainly because, you know, like, I just want to showcase that, you know, you don't really need to have super high health, super high stamina or anything. I just have like optimal damage for what I can get with this build, which is around 50 skill. So that's all I'm really going for right now. I actually had a build where I was just like pure skill and whatnot. I think I used the Beast Hunter Scythe, and I had that like at, you know, like 99 skill and whatnot. And it was interesting. It was interesting. I think the Beast Hunter Scythe is my favorite of the like transforming like cleaver saw weapons and whatnot. But I'd say it's just the least functional, mainly just because it doesn't have the teeth and whatnot, and the transformed attacks are not nearly as good as, you know, its predecessor. You can still build Beasthood with it effectively, but I don't know. I'd rather use for PvE. Like, I'd much rather just use like a cleaver or spear. I don't know why they decided to make them so good, but yeah, what can I say? You know. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and get one more thing.
Steady stride, coloured by blood, but always clear of mind. Proud unto the church. Beasts are a curse, and a curse is a shackle. Only ye, the true blades of the church.
Poor guy. Lost his mind up in here. And this is the Hunter's Nightmare, so, you know, he's stuck here for all eternity, pretty much, until we destroy the nightmare. I framed, you idiot. These guys will freaking chunk your health. I wish that you could get their weapon. That'd be awesome. Like imagine you have a pistol that can, like, it has, like, a really slow, like, in-between shot time. Or it has, like, a bit of recovery. But it shoots, it's just like a magnum, you know, like, just, hand cannon. That'd be awesome. You know? I know we actually have a cannon, but I'm actually doing a playthrough where I'm going to be using the cannon, so that'll be pretty fun. Although I'm not really going to record that. That's not really going to be recorded. Why not? Though let's be honest, you know. Like I said, plenty of times I'm likely speaking to myself because, you know, YouTube has the bright idea to just say, hey, you know what? I know that people are looking for Bloodborne. I know that people are looking for this video game, but, you know, we don't need to show them. We don't need to show them, so that's that. So here's a nice little tidbit that you can do here to buy yourself a little bit of time. Get a Shaman Boneblade. Run right up to her because she will always initiate the engagement with that little eye attack and whatnot. And you can do that. And they can literally just fight each other to the death. So as you can see, yes, this is definitely, I don't usually try and talk over cutscenes, but I'll talk here because it's pretty much over. As you can see, they're pretty much like doing some kind of a ceremony in a way, where they're granting eyes to the brain and whatnot. Now, I took a bullet hunter's mark here because I was like, oh, I'm sure I'll teleport back to, you know, underground corpse pile, but I didn't teleport there, so now I gotta actually. I just did some stupid stuff here, and I like went to the hunter's dream, went back and whatnot, and I was like, oh wow, wonderful. When I could have just took the elevator, you know, just went back down and did it. I just kind of like doing it that way mainly because it's less congested to deal with those two NPC enemies. But definitely I'd say that, you know, like they're doing some kind of ceremony, granting eyes to the brain, I suppose, in this case. That's what it's meant to symbolize. And, as you can see, like, they're in a, like, pope attire and whatnot. But you also have doctors in the background and whatnot, and so I'd say that they're probably, like, you know, healing church doctors, or maybe even choir members, who are pretty much, you know, just similar to Bloodborne scholars, and so that's what they're doing and whatnot. So, yeah. Really interesting stuff, Bloodborne. Really wish that, you know, we'll have something, but we won't. I just don't think we will. Japan studio is being destroyed, and I'm not trying to, like, you know, end this on a bad note. I'm just being honest, you know. It's just really sad. Like, you know, Japan studio is being destroyed, and these people don't give a crap about game preservation, so, you know, they decide, you know, to just say, screw you, PlayStation, you know, that's it for Bloodborne. These things have no range, though. And so I was just like, let me go ahead and just do it this way. Now she's just over here like muttering a phrase that I believe is similar to, if not the exact same thing as Vicar Amelia. I've never really understood what she's saying, because I don't get close enough to her to listen. And so I just said, let me go ahead and get out of here. But yeah, I'm not trying to end this video on a, you know, bad note, but there you go. You got triple boss Bonanza and whatnot, and so now we're going to go ahead and continue on with the DLC later in the future. But for now, that's going to go ahead and wrap this video on up. We'll just be heading back to the Hunter's Dream to end it rightly, as they say. End them rightly. End the video rightly, even though most people are literally, they've clicked off by now. They're like, yeah, okay, I get that's the point. So, we're just going to go ahead and leave. But I'd like to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this boss bonanza, so to speak. I hope you enjoyed watching me destroy. And if I can do it, you can too. So, as always, thank you again. God bless. And I will see you next time.